Hi, my name is Jonathan Ware, and this is my story. This past year, I started a budget, trying to manage my finances, monthly rent, groceries, savings, and then I get down to my tithe. And being rooted in God's Word as a Christian and a believer, I try to make that most important this coming year, to pay God first, to put my first 10% to the church. This past year, my oldest son had endoscopy. He had some stomach issues. We thought it was his appendix, of course the worst, But thankfully, it was just a lactose intolerance he had. But nevertheless, I still had like a $5,000 medical bill. I had to contact the facility, All Children's Hospital, and coordinate payments. So last year I had a bill for my other son, Jacob, but again, I still was paying a bill then. So this isn't going to work with last year's medical bills, this year's medical bills, my tithe, savings, trying to buy a new house. It just seemed to be a little overwhelming. Pastor had mentioned to seek your first 10%, in above all, to pay Him first. And I made the tithe every paycheck I had. I didn't worry about how I was gonna put gas in the car or buy the groceries or call the hospital, and if I can only pay a part of it, then I would just pray before I call them and ask that God would be forgiving in that circumstance. So I made the phone call to the hospital, knowing that I couldn't afford the entire payments between last year's bills and this year's bills. And the lady on the phone, she realized that once when I told her I had last year's bills and this year's bills, she knew I had 3 kids in the system. And she saw the balances of each one and how I've been paying, and she knows that I was committed to honest repayment. So she mentioned there was a program available for people like myself, single parents. And so I told her, I said, well, I've never applied. What do I do? And she says, go ahead and fill out these papers. I'll send them to your email. She said, well, go ahead and process this. We'll submit it to the board of directors, and maybe they'll cover some, maybe they'll cover a little or more or all. So that week it was pretty nerve-wracking. And I think I prayed every day about it, hoping that God would meet me and my family and provide for us. About 5 days later, I got a phone call from the same lady, and she said she had some good news. And right away, my heart sank. And here I am, trying so hard just to pay a 10% tithe to the church and to my God and be faithful. And she said that I've been approved for 90% of my bills. And all I had to pay was my 10%. And I knew right there that because of my faithfulness to my tithing, that God was faithful to me and my family. And so she said out of $7,500 in bills, I only had to pay $750. But since I had been paying all along, I already met that. I already met that 10%. And so she said, you'll receive a letter in the mail stating that you've been approved for the assistance, and the balance will be $0. So here I am today. I'm thankful for healthy children and a job, and just my family and my church, and little things here and there, but this one was big.